Okay, so I don't really like doing long intros, but this is for Sun, Moon, Rising, or Ascendant and Venus Taurus, and this is a what might happen before the end of this year reading. Just quick disclaimer: some messages may be more for you than other people. Some messages may be for more for other people than for you. It could be maybe none of the messages were for you, and that's okay. It could be that also you can interpret these cards in your own way, and that is completely fine. What else I need to say? I think that's it. Okay, to get into the reading. Firstly, when I just did Aries reading, and what came up for Aries, well, not what came up, but at the top of the deck for Aries was this card, and this card somewhere like nearer the top of the deck, which is very interesting because after these three cards came up, so maybe some of you have like Aries in your chart somewhere, or a strong connection to Aries, and if you do, maybe like this message, some of the messages that I might be saying for these three cards, although these are the only few cards here. So maybe some of the messages I said for Aries may be connected to you as well. Maybe some Aries people may be watching this as well. Whichever one. Trying to remember everything I need to say. Oh yes, so after I shuffled these cards and these cards came up, okay, what happened was I was shuffling the cards, and then I was gonna pick one card from the back, and these three just flew out. So these three just flew out. Because how I shuffle cards, I have two ways. Either I wait for a card to fly out, or I shuffle, preferably 3 times. 3 is the magic number, and then I pick a card from the back. But as I was going to pick a card from the back, these three just flew out, and what else? So those three flew out, and then at the top of the deck was, what card was it? I forgot now. But there was a few cards at the top of the deck that, first of all, one or two of them were from Aries reading, and the other one was a wish card, which caught my attention while I was shuffling. Then I saw again, near the top of the deck. So I don't know if it's still here. If it is still here, then I guess it's meant to find you. So what else do I need to say? Okay, the reason, so because you have three cards, over here, I decided to only get one clarifier. So your reading's very different, well, not that much different, just a bit different to other signs. So rather than having two cards and then two clarifiers, you have three cards and one clarifier. At the top of the deck now, you do have the Empress. So you have the Empress and Nine of Cups here. So Nine of Cups before the end of this year. I do feel heavily that maybe some of your readings are connected to Aries reading, because some of what Aries got was about wish fulfillment, well, not exactly wish coming true, but patience, having patience for something you want to happen. That patience especially was in the I'm not going to focus on that one. Strength card is also about patience. Similarly, Aries got two different cards that indicated patience, but you have one card indicating patience, which is the strength. Six of Pentacles was sticking out. Let me just say this. So actually, maybe it's sticking out for a reason. Well, I'm going to go through that later, because when I go through the top of the deck, I usually like go really far into the deck. So I could be a bit scatterbrained sometimes. Let me gather my energy. So Nine of Cups, that's, I guess, I don't know how else to describe this Nine of Cups. Like, when you look at this Nine of Cups, I feel like the energy really speaks to you. I mentioned in one reading that there are some cards that when you look at it, you can feel the energy of what the card is trying to say. Like, there's no way to describe it because the card really captures that energy by itself. And I feel like the Nine of Cups is one of those cards. She's jumping out of a treasure chest with all these like a light coming from her and all these cups flying out. So that's pure joy. That's joy, amazement, bliss, all those sorts of feelings. So before the end of this year, this may be how some of you will be feeling: this joy, this bliss, this excitement, this happiness. And with the star card, which again, I saw that as a wish, making a wish, and some of you, the majority of you, maybe that wish coming true. This message could be just for one of you, for one person. Especially if you have like Aries in your chart as well. So this message could be for one person, could be for more people. So the energy of like discovering a treasure chest or having that wish granted. So with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, Aries didn't have this card in reverse because it was in the deck. It was near the top of, it was actually at the top of the deck. But here is in reverse. So I am seeing this with the Hangman as a clarifier. as you may need to let go of expectations. You may have a vision of how you want things to go, or what sort of, I guess with that wish card, the star is also about blessings, and or I don't see it in some decks it is what's the word, vulnerability, but I'm not really seeing that in this deck, because in the other deck she's naked, so that's vulnerability, or not just vulnerability but also what's the word, forget it, she's not in this deck, or she's not like that in this deck. In this deck is I'm seeing it more as a wish being made, and the way you may be wanting that wish to come true may not be how it comes true. So the hangman is someone who needs to let go and see things from a different perspective. So for some of you, the message is to see the blessings, to see the joy in the, I guess maybe just in your, why am I, wait. So okay, before the end of this year, I know I'm saying this as like a advice reading. I do tend to like drift off into that, and like I feel like the key to sometimes is not to control too much. Sometimes basically what I'm trying to say is there may be a reason why I do drift off into advice readings, but actually maybe there's some advice I'm meant to say, which is why I sometimes accidentally start giving advice, but I caught myself back to what might happen for the end of this year. So before the end of this year, some of you maybe just needing to, what's the word, I guess let go of expectations. As soon as I get off that advice boat, I start using what I'm going to say. Let me move on to the strength card and try and like gather this energy later. Some days I know exactly what I'm going to say. Some days I know what I'm going to say, but as I'm about to say it, the words just disappear. So strength card, for some of you, before the end of this year, you may be finding your strength. For some of you, I feel like you may be embracing because lamb is like child energies. A lamb is a baby sheep. So I'm saying embracing your should I say not childishness, but your inner child, embracing that inner child. Especially if you're more adults watching this, or I'm guessing most of you are adults watching this. So as adults, healing that inner child, I guess, or protecting that inner child. And less of a child. It's not exactly like inner child, but the more vulnerable side of yourself, the more, I guess you could say, innocent side of yourself. Lamb does represent innocence as well. So should I say protecting, but rather it's not exactly protecting. I'm not exactly seeing this as protecting. I'm seeing this more as like, how do I word this? Working with both sides. So working with the more innocent side and the more predatory side, the more scary side, intimidating side, brave. I guess just balancing your energies is the right way to put it. So before the end of this year, some of you may be balancing your energies, like balancing the yin and the yang, and embracing all of yourself. Some of you may be, again, as I mentioned before, having to be patient with something, or having to find your strength before the end of this year. Some of you may be receiving gifts. I'll jump onto the Empress. This is clear messages with this one. Some of you may be receiving gifts. Some of you may be creating something, and you have the Three of Pentacles. Some of you may be working with someone to create something. I do like to get into the deck as well, because there may be messages for someone who maybe whose message didn't get onto the table. So some of you may be working with something, so working with someone, creating something with someone. What's the word? Pampering yourself. That's it. And also, I think that Empress is Venus energy, and also it's typically Libra energy, but Venus is also rules Taurus, so this is also partially Taurus energy. But yeah, working with someone to create something, or simply exploring your creativity, pampering yourself, exploring your femininity as well. Treating yourself. Then you have Justice. So again, there's this balance, this scales, and I did mention Libra with this. So maybe Libra has a part in your reading. Maybe Libra plays a major part in your life, or you have a Libra in your chart somewhere. But either way, Libra here, well, Libra energy here with the scales, Libra energy here as well. This is more Leo energy. Not sure about the other ones. So yeah, balance here as well. Balancing. I'm seeing just the, because here she's smiling. Here she's looks more stern, and the scales is about fairness, fair distribution, a fair. You could say fair punishment. And so you have justice here. The hangman was, as I mentioned before, he was, I forgot the word, sentenced to hang because he wouldn't change. And you have the justice. This isn't judgment though, but this is justice. Um, Maybe it's just like doing yourself justice before the end of this year. Some of you may be doing yourself justice. The Empress energy here, doing yourself justice, doing something for yourself, and being fair to yourself, nurturing yourself. I'm seeing that as also nurturing all sides of yourself, not just one side of yourself. So not being hard on yourself. So basically being fair on yourself before the end of this year. Some of you may be involved in the justice system before the end of this year, or something related to the justice system before the end of this year. Just to remind myself, this is before the end of this year, so I don't get into that advice. What do I call it? I'm not sure what to call it. So yeah, I'll leave this one here. Quite a lot to say with this card. And the one that was sticking out was this card, Six of Pentacles. And also I want to clarify, when I put the cards back in the deck, I don't just put them all back in the deck. Often what I do is I put them back individually, so they're all separated, to make sure that they won't come up again. So if they do come up again, I do see that as like someone's energies back from another reading. Like this card was an Aries reading, which comes after this card, which was poking out. Six of Pentacles, receiving. Some of you may be receiving something from someone. I did mention like jewelry here. Some of you may be receiving something from someone. Could be a love interest. I did mention someone else's reading, preparing for a date. And you have the Six of Pentacles, so receiving or giving. But I'm seeing this more as receiving. Maybe even giving to yourself. And out of my own curiosity, Seven of Cups, Three of Cups. Just wanted to see what else was at the bottom of the deck. Oops. I turned this one over and was about to drop it. So maybe this one's a bit active. So maybe this one's like a strong message for you. Maybe some of you weren't meant to see this one because I did turn it over like this by accident. Then almost dropped it. Maybe some of you weren't meant to see it. Maybe it's an active one for you. So it's very important for you. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a Japanese sword. It looks a bit like a Japanese sword. Maybe like Japan is involved, or martial arts. You have strength here as well, which turn as well. So you have strength here too. So maybe before the end of this year, some of you may be actually practicing martial arts or some physical activity. Could be a sports. Now onto this one. This is quite a long reading, but I was stuttering quite a bit. Wait, back of the deck energy real quick, since I did the front of the deck. Oh, 10 of Swords, Queen of Swords, 5 of Swords, one more, Queen of Cups. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, so you have here the Knight of Pentacles. So again, patience, slow and steady wins the race. Dedication, determination, strength, dedication, determination. So maybe something where you have to be patient, dedicated, determined, and something long term as well for some of you. Some of you, this one card is a message for you of a slow journey. So maybe things will be moving slower than you wanted. So that's also talking about this. This card, the Hangman, is letting go of belief systems, expectations, letting go of old ways of thinking. With this Nine of Pentacles, I am seeing that as maybe like a letdown, or things turning out not as you expected. Things happening not as you expected. You have a wish, but it's granted in a way you didn't expect. So not to try and predict, I guess, the future, not to try and think too much about the future of this Hangman. I guess this card, these two together, to me, are saying be in the now, being more in the moment. With the Queen at the back of the deck here, Queen of Cups. So I see this card as like having a handle on your own emotions and other people's emotions. So like you may be someone who's very sensitive to other people's feelings. 5 of Swords, maybe sensitive to other people's actions or emotions, what other people say, what other people do. Could affect you, but before the end of this year, for some of you, before the end of this year, this may be happening. Headaches. Maybe other people will be causing some sort of trouble for you. Could be why the Justice card was there. For some of you, the Queen of Cups is before the end of this year, you'll be being able to handle your emotions more and other people's emotions more. So your, what's the word? Sensitivity, strength card. So nurturing again the lamb and the lion, strength, and I'm seeing the lamb as that sensitivity and the lion as that is the word indifference. So not identifying for other people's situation. Then 10 of swords. For some of you, maybe something negative might happen for them. Because this card does sometimes seem to me like a bad omen. I'm not saying exactly like something bad's gonna happen for the end of this year to you, but that something negative. It doesn't have to be like bad, like someone's car like has a car accident. Could be something's like the computer breaks or phone smashes or what else? But something that leads to something good, because the Ten of Swords is also hope. So something bad that happens but leads to something good, where there's hope after it. What else was there? Oh, yeah, Queen of Swords. So being I guess being stern, being strict, straightforward, seeking truth. Before the end of this year, some of you may be seek either looking for truth to a situation. Something happens where you want to know the truth, where you have to maybe judge someone, not judge exactly, but come to a decision about something, where you're going to have to utilize the Justice card, the Queen of Swords, the Hangman, and the Strength card. Those energies. So letting go, changing your point of view to see things from another perspective, letting go of your old perspectives, not letting your emotions dictate your choices. You have the cup caged here. So not making making choices based on logic rather than emotions, and having strength and wherever the situation is. So that may be what's happening. So rather than advice, that could be what you're doing, or that could be an advice for you to prepare for something. Oh, this is exhausting. I don't know. I'm feeling exhausted suddenly. 10 of Cups. I just want to go on and on and see what else is in this deck. Anyways, I'm going to do that in my own time because I'm curious. Since if I did that now, I feel like it would be the point of having these cards here. But thank you for watching. This was a bit of a mess. And a bit exhausting for some reason. Maybe something makes you tired. Because I'm feeling, I don't normally feel tired. I know it's at night, but I don't usually feel tired at night. I'm a bit of a night owl. So for me, feeling exhausted now, maybe like it's like your future energy or something, or something else, I don't know. But thank you for watching. Hopefully this resonated. If it didn't, that's okay. If you'd like to, you can like, share, comment, or subscribe. If you don't want to, that's also fine. And hopefully this was helpful in some way as well. This is interesting. Just going through the deck to see what else is here.